So we are talking about accelerating adoption, and we are talking about the need to increase adoption of crypto. So let's begin with looking at how it looks like today. So here's some stats from blockchain use. Crypto users stand at 300 million, representing nearly 3.7% of the global population. This article is a year old, so it's not really up to date, and so on. If someone in the community is very good with data, please provide good adoption number and statistics. It's highly appreciated. So it has probably increased a bit. So let's just assume it's at 5% now then. But what does this mean? It means that we have 95% that is not in this tech right now. So we haven't done anything yet for world adoption. We're not even close. Not in relation to the potential of distributed ledger technology and peer-to-peer exchange and everything else that is possible. And as long as that is the case, we have to innovate and push hard for adoption. The whole crypto market cap is not even half the market cap of Apple. So we have a long way to go here. And here we can see the projected growth of crypto users. And as we can see in this projection, by 2024, we might have 1 billion users. So it's already growing. But two questions come to my mind. Number one, how can we accelerate this adoption? Because as we can see here, by 2030, we're still just going to have 3.7 billion out of 8.5 billion. So that's 43% in 6 years. And this is a logarithmic chart, and it's still a lot, but to me, it's not an acceptable growth. It's way too slow. And although it might look great, it's slow because the implementation of CBDCs and meta-like metaverses have all the time in the world to conquer again. And number two, there is adoption and there is adoption. With this forecast, 3.7 billion will be adopted. However, how many of them are going to live up to the first principles of crypto? As it is now in crypto, not many. So what conclusions can we draw? The opportunity here is to accelerate adoption and push for first principles. But the main point I want to make here is that we're so small, we're tiny in a big ocean. We have to challenge ourselves here and in our strategies. We have to challenge our existing beliefs in how to do things. So with this in mind, let's talk about the thought behind Zen protocol so you can better understand why we made certain decisions, and that upfront might have seemed illogical for some. Zen is pretty simple, and the reasons we have grown so fast and probably going to exponentially grow faster is not based on any hype or magic whatsoever. People are craving transparent, verifiable solutions based on logic, and Zen is highly reasonable and pure in that sense. But the question is, how does Zen fit in to the rest of the world? Let's start by talking about why we chose Ethereum as the main chain. And everybody's, of course, not unison on that, and this is not coming from someone who's any kind of ETH maxi whatsoever, but even I have to realize certain facts. And the reason we chose Ethereum is simply that it has the biggest network. It has the highest engagement right now. It has the biggest number of wallets. It's the biggest sandbox for people to play with. It has the biggest developer community. And we're aligned in values such as open source and decentralization. It has the highest difficulty to gas cost, and difficulty brings value in a way. It resists spam, and Ethereum is the most spam resistant in that aspect. Stable coins, it could be argued be more stable and has a lot more to lose due to the fact that they have to perform, otherwise they lose their status as the network for all the stable coins. You know, stable coins are valued over $100 billion only on ETH, and the numbers of holders are enormous. Stablecoin saves you from the risk. So when you engage in Zen, there's more economic energy in stablecoins that I can convert almost risk-free. With other networks, it's a little bit more risk just by being there. But with all of this said, we're no way denying that Ethereum does have many challenges. And they just did a merge and it went fairly well, but it still remains to be seen how they're going to solve the many challenges ahead. Can they keep censorship resistance? Can they solve the rug pulls and exploits that are happening all the time on DeFi? Can they become more decentralized? Can they solve liquid staking without high centralization, for example? And I'm personally happy that we have alternative chains that are based on other foundations, so we have alternatives should it be that Ethereum won't work in the end. But Zen wants the biggest network effect. That's what it comes down to. So this is the full transparency of why we chose Ethereum. So then let's look at it on the perspective of why we want to go multi-chain. You know, we've just been going through this a couple of weeks, and as you've seen this last week, we've almost deployed a new testnet every other day. So right now we have testnets live and ready to also launch very soon on Ethereum, on Polygon, on Binance and Pulse chain. And then you might have, you know, Zen represented on various chains such as Zen, Big Zen, MXN, Bixen, and wrapped Zen ETH to Polygon, for instance, could be Bixen. You know, just to note, things in crypto are moving very fast. There are also other solutions we're looking into as well, like layer 0 solutions, multi-chain swaps, etc. We have really good developers here in Zen, and you are invited to also participate in the creation phase of this. And this is the whole reason why we are so transparent, part of it, because we need to use our hive mind here. You guys give great inputs, and this is food that we can iterate with, so we can find the very best solution for Zen in all aspects. But questions directly come up, and I want to address them right away. Like, what the heck? What do Binance have to do with first principles of crypto? Aren't they a little bit centralized? You know, Zen core values is decentralization, and other questions come up from an ETH perspective. If we deploy there and also go to other chains, won't that take time and focus away from Zen on Ethereum? And these are very good questions, guys. So let's try to answer them. And on a higher level, it involves the problem of adoption we are trying to solve. Because within that question, there is a strategic, safety, technical values, and community aspect. It's actually a very big question. So to answer that, we have to take a high-level perspective from the start. And what drives us is the fact that Zen needs to drive inclusivity rather than exclusivity. So let's take an example. Before, IBM was only making computers for businesses, and then came Apple and made computers for everybody. And Apple's market cap is now twice the size of the whole crypto market. So what did we learn? We learned that choosing not to go somewhere limits your market. And this is also a reason why Zen maybe shouldn't build its own blockchain, at least not right away, because Zen then would be an exclusive club, and we want Zen to be everywhere. Zen should be value that unites and becomes the strongest financial lubricant for the world, right? So we cannot limit Zen to only one chain, even though Zen's values of first principles are not always 100% aligned with existing chains. But Zen being on just that chain does not necessarily validate that chain's values. We can bring the message of fairness and first principles of crypto to be explored in their respective communities instead of siloing our message. It's just like when Google went to China, even though all searches wasn't allowed to be done there. And if we don't go to that chain, someone else will copy our code and our community and call it Zen, just like happened with Shiba. And that would be super confusing. The same thing was tried with hex. And another reason is that blockchain and how they fit into real world adoption is a highly complex matter. There are brilliant minds on every chain, and they have figured out solutions to problems that other chains haven't even focused on because they've been busy solving other problems. So we see value in pretty much all chains, some more than others, of course. So for us to succeed with adoption of Zen, we need Zen to be everywhere. It cannot be an exclusive club. It has to be inclusive. And this is not super controversial to most of you listening, because talking about interoperability is something we have for years now, and it's practically become the main narrative even within crypto. But I want everybody to get on the same page in relation to what we are trying to solve. Further, how, like most cryptos have been trying to onboard fiat into their currency. You have to take this in mind. The standard for anyone launching a new crypto has been to have their price pump in dollars to technically onboard dollars and cents as fast as they can. But that resource flow is scarce. Money flow to crypto is very, very, very slow. Success has been measured in how much fiat you can get your crypto to pump the price. We want to pump crypto with humans instead. And this way we will not be limited by fiat stopping our adoption. If we onboard humans the best way, we win the world and everybody wins. So you see, we have to think differently than anyone else if we are serious about adoption. We need to start from adoption mindset. And then of course, if we can have, then we can have the discussion of how that technically should be implemented and adopted. So, for instance, technically, for example, you can look at some multi-chain dynamics. Like how is a multi-chain world going to look like for Zen? And as many of you already have figured out, the value of Zen might not be the same on all chains, etc. For example, the gas fees are very different, right? And since Zen is a free plus gas plus time to mint, then the variation of gas cost will have huge impact on the cost of mining one Zen, depending on which chain you're on. So to simplify this, like very basic, this is like a base model for example, you could have, you have chain A and chain B, ETH and Pulse, for instance, and the cost of one transaction on ETH is 10, and the cost of a transaction on Pulse is 5. So then the Zen ratio for these chains would be 1 to 2. But then you also have to factor in, of course, utility, size of the network, liquidity, participants on BNB, for instance. They have 10% of the liquidity of Ethereum. So the market will decide these ratios, and that gives an opportunity to launch maybe, you can launch a game on Binance and use Zen as the token of value, and you could be only with this game on Binance, and then you can say, wait, well, they have Zen also on ETH, and I'm going to do the same on ETH because I understand the functionality of the token already. So, this is just the base, and I'm not going to go deeper into the multi-chain dynamics, but this is something that we encourage that we have discussions about in Telegram and Discord. And then tribalism, guys. Tribalism. One aspect of the problem inside crypto is tribalism. We have very intelligent people in each chain, but they easily get stuck in confirmation bias. We all do. We're seeking out information to reinforce our existing beliefs. So confirmation bias and lack of respect in general leads to tribalism. And tribalism is a huge blockage for adoption. Competition can be great. Difference of opinion, great. Altered narratives, it's great to discuss. Tribalism, it's devastating. Tribalism leads to maximalism, and maximalism leads to exclusivity. Maximalism is not currency, but principles. Zen is first principles maxi, if anything, and we need to drive inclusivity rather than exclusivity. If we finally made it technically possible to have systems that are permissionless, for example, we can't stop adoption and further innovation by something else. It's completely unnecessary. What I really love about this Zen community, and I think you all can agree on this, is the complete lack of tribalism today. We have a community here and we come from many different chains, but we treat each other with complete respect. We listen, we learn from each other, and we teach each other. We've already become a collective hive mind that stands above tribalism, and we need to keep it that way. For us to win, we need to be the most open, most respectful community crypto has ever seen. We need the knowledge of every chain. We need to be inclusive. The goal is adoption, to get billions of people. Nobody has succeeded in this. You know, we're less than 5% towards our goal. Does every chain live up to the first principles of crypto? No. And we can have long discussion on which is better. My chain is better than your chain, but I think we're all getting very tired of it. So do you want to do something different here? Then we got to think differently. Either we fight or we unite. You know, think about who the real enemy is here. It's not the guys from the other chains. They are at least 85% perfectly aligned with you, and that's 75% more than the guys in the legacy world. So there is way more that unites us than divides us. There's no competition. Zen is trying to broaden the market for all of us. So each and every one of you in the Zen community have to make an individual choice, decision, and ask yourself right now, do I want crypto to be adopted to the rest of the 95% of the population in a way where each individual is self-sovereign, practices self-custody without counterparty risk, with decentralized and transparent systems? Or do I want all of that, but at the same time convince everybody else that my system is better than your system? You have to make that choice. It's a tough one, and it sucks many times, but you have to, because there's no other way. Do you want our hive mind to be the strongest? Do you want the sharpest brains from all chains? Do you want the experience and knowledge adopted to Zen? If so, then we have to welcome them with open arms. We have to say, hey Cosmos, hey Polkadot, hey Cardano, hey Avalanche, here's your testnet, go with it, see what you can do with Zen. We can set up a Telegram group for every Zen pair where those who want can go there as well and bring in the best practices into the main channel. Now, that would be cool. And I know for a fact that there's really cool tech going on other chains, and I don't want to miss out on that. Do you? If you really have a difference of opinion here and believe that the way to solve adoption is with a more exclusive club, then there's nothing stopping you from starting your own project. The code is there. We strongly believe in open source. You can take it. You'll have to find another Jack Levin equivalent with the same or better experience and knowledge in scalability in crypto and tech and open source, etc. And you'll have to find someone like that. And you'll also have to build a community as strong as the Zen community, and that is very difficult, I can tell you that, but it's not impossible. You can do it, and if you do, as long as you live up to the first principles of crypto, not only can you do it, you will also have our blessing to do so, whatever that is worth to you, if any. We believe that first principles of crypto is something that it's not limited to us, it belongs to humanity. We are more than happy if it can spread. So some people will call us very naive in this and in what we're trying to do, and that's okay. It's very easy to call something. Anyone can do it, but what is your alternative is my question back. Should we all just put our laptops down and say, screw this, let's just hang out in Meta and let's have our eyeballs scanned and every eye every move tracked, and let them get to the billions first. Let them have the standard 10 years from now and not experience the same problems that we have today, but 100 times worse. You know, what is your solution to adoption? So unless you have a better proposition, I wouldn't call this naive. I call it doable. Is it going to be hard work? Yes. Are we ready for it? Yes, more than ever before. I don't need to be convinced. The people in the Zen community have already showed me. They've proved to me that we can stand above tribalism and work together despite our individual preference chain. You know, Zen is an exclusive community that will be open. However, it doesn't mean that we will onboard everything right away. It doesn't mean that we're not going to be strategic about it. What it means is that everyone who comes in should feel welcome and be in a Zen state where they can learn but also share their knowledge. So, enough fun. Oh my God, we're talking so much, you know. If anybody's still listening to me after this long, go to the comment section and write bananas so I can see that you're really listening. Anyway, moving on.